Imagine this for a moment. You apply for your Social Security benefits, eagerly waiting for your first monthly payment. When it finally arrives, the amount is much lower than you expected. Confused, you call the Social Security Administration, hoping it's just a simple mistake. Instead, you're told there's a problem with your earnings record. Something is missing. Something doesn't match. And the hardest part? It should have been corrected before you filed your claim, not afterward. Unfortunately, this situation affects thousands of Americans every year. The good news is that in many cases, it could have been avoided by reviewing just 5 important documents ahead of time. Think about that for a second. After working for 40 or even 50 years, after every paycheck you've earned, every tax return you've filed, every long workday and early morning, the size of your Social Security benefit may depend on a handful of documents. Documents that could already be sitting in a drawer or filing cabinet in your home. Documents that most people never think to check until it's too late. In this video, I'll walk you through the 5 documents that matter most. I'll explain each one in simple, everyday language, so you know exactly what to look for and why it matters. My goal is to help you avoid the unpleasant surprise that catches so many retirees off guard. Welcome to Retirement Watch, where we break down Social Security, Medicare, and retirement planning into clear, easy-to-understand information that helps you make confident financial decisions. I'm Robert Hale. If you find videos like this helpful, take a second to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps our channel reach more people who are preparing for retirement and looking for reliable guidance. It's a small action on your part, but it makes a meaningful difference. Before we look at those 5 documents, I want to tell you something important. If your paperwork isn't perfectly organized, or if you feel like you're already behind, don't worry. You're far from alone. Most Americans approaching retirement feel exactly the same way. The truth is, the Social Security system expects you to arrive prepared. It assumes your earnings history is accurate, your documents are complete, and you already know what information you'll need. But no one teaches these things in school, and most people don't learn about them until they're only months away from filing for benefits. So there's no need to rush. We'll go through everything one step at a time. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which 5 documents to gather, why each one is important, and what steps to take if something is missing or incorrect. Let's begin with the first, and perhaps the most important document, your Social Security earnings record. Unlike most documents, this one doesn't arrive in your mailbox. Instead, it's stored electronically within the Social Security Administration's system. It contains a year-by-year record of every wage that has been reported throughout your working career. Your future retirement benefit is calculated using your highest 35 years of earnings. That means if even 1 year's income is missing or reported incorrectly, your monthly benefit could be permanently reduced. Think about what that really means. Every job you've worked, every paycheck you've earned, every overtime shift you've put in, contributes to the number used to calculate your retirement benefit. If that number isn't accurate, you may end up receiving less money than you've earned over a lifetime of work. The good news is that you can review your earnings history at any time by creating a free My Social Security account at ssa.gov. Once you're signed in, you'll see a complete record of your reported earnings going all the way back to your first job. Take your time reviewing it. Look carefully for any missing years, earnings that seem unusually low, or information that simply doesn't look right. Here's something many people don't realize. The Social Security Administration depends on wage reports submitted by employers. Businesses sometimes close. Payroll records can be lost. Names may be misspelled, and numbers can be entered incorrectly. Small administrative mistakes happen more often than most people expect, and if they're never corrected, they can affect the amount of money you receive every month in retirement. If you discover an error in your earnings record, don't panic. In most cases, it can be corrected. The key is having the right documentation to support your claim. Gather anything that verifies your income, such as old W-2 forms, tax returns, pay stubs, or other employment records. These documents can help prove what you actually earned. Keep in mind, though, that the older the mistake, the more difficult it may be to fix. That's exactly why reviewing your earnings record before you file for Social Security is so important. In just a moment, we'll move on to the second document. It's something nearly everyone has at some point, yet many people struggle to find it when they need it most. The second essential document is your birth certificate. It may sound obvious, but take a moment and ask yourself this question. Do you know exactly where your birth certificate is right now? For many Americans, the answer is no. Maybe it's still stored in a parent's home. Perhaps it was packed away during a move or renovation. It could be sitting in a safe that hasn't been opened in years, or maybe it simply disappeared decades ago. Your birth certificate plays an important role because the Social Security Administration typically requires proof of both your age and your identity. If you can't provide it when you apply, your claim could be delayed, sometimes by several weeks or even longer, and during that time you won't be receiving the retirement benefits you've already earned. There's also a personal side to this document. A birth certificate isn't just another piece of paperwork. It's the very first official record of your life. For many people, finding it brings back memories of childhood, parents who have passed away, hospitals that no longer exist, or hometowns they haven't visited in decades. Take some time to locate it now, rather than waiting until you're ready to file. If you can't find your original certificate, don't worry. In most cases, you can request a certified copy from the Vital Records Office in the state where you were born. Depending on the state, the process may take several weeks, and in some cases, even longer. That's another reason it's smart to start early. Before we continue, a quick favor. If you're finding this information useful, consider subscribing to Retirement Watch. We publish new videos every week, covering Social Security, Medicare, and retirement planning in clear, easy-to-understand language. No scare tactics, no exaggerated headlines, just practical information designed to help you make informed decisions. Now let's look at the third important document, your marriage certificate, or if applicable, your divorce decree. This is another area that surprises many people. A lot of Americans assume that Social Security automatically has a complete record of their marital history. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. If you're applying for spousal benefits, survivor benefits, or benefits based on a former spouse's earnings record, you may need to provide official proof of your marriage and, if relevant, proof of your divorce. Without those documents, your claim could be delayed, or you could miss out on benefits you're actually entitled to receive. Here's something many people don't realize. If you were married for at least 10 years before divorcing, you may still qualify for benefits based on your former spouse's work record. It doesn't matter if they've remarried, and it doesn't matter if you haven't spoken to them in years. What matters is having the proper documentation to support your claim. Marriage certificates and divorce decrees are generally maintained by the county or state where those events occurred. Retrieving older records, especially those from rural areas or many years ago, can sometimes take several weeks. Some offices require written applications, while others may ask for notarized requests before releasing certified copies. If you've been married more than once, make sure you collect records for every marriage and every divorce. This isn't about revisiting the past. It's about making sure every benefit you've earned is properly documented so you receive everything you're entitled to. Coming up next is the fourth document, one that many Americans rarely think about, but that can quietly have a significant impact on their Social Security benefits. The fourth document you should have ready is your military service record. If you served in the United States Armed Forces, many veterans don't realize that their military service can affect their Social Security benefits. Depending on when you served, you may qualify for special earnings credits that are added to your Social Security record. Those additional credits can increase the amount of your monthly retirement benefit. The rules vary based on your period of service. In some cases, these credits are applied automatically. In others, you'll need to provide documentation before they can be recognized. That's why your DD Form 214 is so important. This document serves as the official record of your military service. It confirms your dates of service, military branch and discharge status. If your benefits depend on your time in the military, having this document readily available can make the claims process much smoother. I'd like to pause here for a moment, because for many veterans and military families, this isn't simply another piece of paperwork. Your years of service represent dedication, sacrifice, and commitment to your country. For some, they also represent friendships, difficult memories, and personal challenges. The least the system should do is ensure that service is accurately reflected when calculating your retirement benefits. If you can't locate your DD Form 214, don't wait until you're ready to file for Social Security. You can request a replacement copy through the National Archives. Depending on the age of the record, the process may take several weeks or even longer, so it's best to begin well in advance of your retirement application. Now let's move to the fifth and final document, your most recent tax returns and W-2 forms. At first glance, these documents may not seem as significant as your birth certificate or marriage records. However, they can become some of the strongest evidence you have if there's ever a problem with your Social Security earnings history. Imagine logging into your My Social Security account and reviewing your earnings record. Everything looks fine until you notice that one year, perhaps 2004, shows zero income, but you know you worked that year. You remember the employer. You remember receiving paychecks. What you may not have is immediate proof. That's where your tax returns and W-2 forms become incredibly valuable. These records can help verify your earnings and, in many cases, allow the Social Security Administration to correct missing or inaccurate wage information, even years after the original error occurred. Without supporting documentation, Fixing those mistakes can become much more difficult. A smart step is to gather your recent tax returns and W-2 forms now and store them with your other important Social Security documents. If you've kept older records, that's even better. Many people box up old tax paperwork and never think about it again. But when it comes to Social Security, those forgotten records could ultimately protect benefits worth thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement. If you've misplaced older tax returns, don't assume they're gone forever. You can request tax transcripts from the IRS, which often provide records going back several years. While obtaining them may take some time, having those documents available can make a significant difference if you ever need to verify your earnings. Before we wrap up, I'd like you to think about what these 5 documents really represent. They're much more than administrative paperwork. Together, they tell the story of your life, your birth, your career, your family, your military service, and every year you spent working to build your future. Every paycheck, every promotion, every milestone contributed to the retirement benefits you've earned. The Social Security system depends on documentation. Having the right records in place helps ensure that the benefits you've worked for throughout your lifetime are calculated accurately and paid without unnecessary delays. The Social Security system can only work with the information it has. It doesn't know your full story unless you can document it. That's why the best time to make sure everything is accurate is long before you file for benefits, not during a stressful phone call after you've already submitted your application. So here's what I'd encourage you to do after finishing this video. Create a retirement folder. It can be a physical folder, a digital folder on your computer, or both, whatever works best for you. Then begin collecting these 5 important documents one by one. You don't have to finish everything today. The important thing is simply to get started. Once you've gathered your documents, let your spouse know where they're stored. If you have a trusted adult child or another family member, make sure they know as well. If an emergency ever arises, the people who care about you shouldn't have to search through drawers and boxes trying to locate essential paperwork. Preparing these documents isn't just something you do for yourself. It's one of the most thoughtful gifts you can leave your family, because it makes an already difficult time much easier to manage. Now let's review everything with one simple checklist. Asterisk. Asterisk. First asterisk. Asterisk. Sign into your My Social Security account and carefully review your earnings history. Look for missing years, unusually low earnings, or any information that doesn't seem accurate. Asterisk. Asterisk. Second asterisk. Asterisk. Locate your birth certificate. If you can't find it, request a certified copy from the Vital Records office in the state where you were born. The sooner you begin, the better. Asterisk. Asterisk. Third asterisk. Asterisk. Gather your marriage certificate and, if applicable, your divorce decree. If you've been married more than once, be sure to collect records for every marriage and every divorce. Asterisk. Asterisk. Fourth asterisk. Asterisk. If you served in the United States military, locate your DD Form 214. If it's missing, request a replacement copy from the National Archives well before you plan to apply for Social Security. Asterisk. Asterisk. Fifth asterisk. Asterisk. Organize your recent tax returns and W-2 forms and keep them together with your other retirement documents. If you still have older tax records, include those as well. They may prove valuable if you ever need to verify your earnings history. Once you've completed these 5 steps, you'll be far better prepared than many people approaching retirement. You'll be able to meet with a financial professional more confidently, answer questions more easily, and submit your Social Security application knowing you've done everything possible to avoid unnecessary delays or surprises. Before we finish, I want to offer one important reminder. This video is intended for educational purposes only. It should not be considered financial, legal, tax, medical, Social Security, or Medicare advice. Retirement Watch is not affiliated with the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Because every retirement situation is unique, always verify your personal circumstances through official Social Security resources and consider speaking with a qualified retirement planner, tax professional, or Medicare specialist who understands your complete financial picture. If you've stayed with me until this point, thank you. Watching an entire video like this tells me something important about you. It shows that you're taking your retirement seriously. You care about protecting your future, helping your family, and making informed decisions before they become urgent. If you found today's video helpful, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to Retirement Watch. Every week we publish new videos that explain Social Security, Medicare, and retirement planning in plain English, using the same calm, practical approach you've seen today. And if you know someone who's getting close to retirement, a parent, spouse, sibling, relative, or close friend, please consider sharing this video with them. A few minutes of preparation today could save them weeks of confusion, delays, and unnecessary stress in the future. Sometimes caring for someone means making a phone call. Sometimes it means sharing information that can truly make a difference. Before you leave, I'd like to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know which retirement age group you're in. 55, 61, 62, 64, 65, 67, 68 or older. I read your comments and they help me understand who's watching so I can create future videos that answer the questions people need most. I'm Robert Hale, and this has been Retirement Watch. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. Take care of yourself, take care of the people you love, and I'll see you in the next video.